tonight we've come your way. Good evening, cherished viewers. This evening we've come your way with another episode of The Issues, the most trending program on your set as far as your social media handles are concerned. This is The Issues. And tonight on our show, we are privileged to have none other than our guest personality in our midst. He's no other person than the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana. Papa, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Just to
Thank you.
clarify, his name is the Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabena Boafo. Papa, we are so glad you are here with us.
Thank you for the invitation.
A pleasure always. Okay. So today is the Autonomy Day of the Methodist Church Ghana. And we've called you here, we've gathered here. We know of all that we watched a little bit in the daytime, the noise and the hooray and the jingles we saw throughout the weekend. Now, today, can you help us? What is the reason behind the autonomy? When we talk about the autonomy, the reason, the when, can you brief members a bit about it, please?
Thank you very much. And may I also use this opportunity to thank you for the invitation to be here on the issues. And thank you for the wonderful job that you are doing here as a circuit. Today, 28th July, is seen in the Methodist Church as a very important day. We call it the Autonomy Day. Autonomy from the English word where we are saying we are free, we rule ourselves, and then we determine things for ourselves. But where is it coming from? In the year 1835, some missionaries from England landed at the shores of Gold Coast and started the Methodist family here in the Gold Coast. And because they were missionaries who had traveled all the way from London to the Gold Coast, everything that went on was seen as an offshoot of the church in England. Okay. And so missionaries, church workers, all decisions and everything, church planting, evangelism, social work, education, and all that was determined at the conference in Great Britain. Yeah. And so this continued for a very long time, where they brought in missionaries, they brought in church workers, those who came in as teachers, those who came in as ministers of the gospel. But whilst the church was growing, it became very evident that the Ghanaians could also rule themselves and determine things for themselves. So they created the Cape Coast Synod, the Gold Coast Synod, meaning that the final decisions were taken outside. But in 1961, the church in England saw that no, it is time for the Ghanaians to rule themselves. And so we, at this meeting, determined that no, the church should be on its own and have its freedom, its autonomy to determine things and to create a conference.
Right. So it's been a practice since that day, as it were.
Yes.
History you've given us.
Right.
Okay.
So from 1961 till now, we have been autonomous, and that is where we had the Methodist Church Ghana. Right. Okay. Yeah. Previously, it was the Gold Coast Synod or the Ghana Synod.
Okay. Yes. So, cherished viewers, as a recap, we've got to understand that on our topic, the topic that says that Autonomy Day, staying relevant as a church in the midst of the pandemic. Papa has given us a bit of enlightenment, and I hope you have all understood what he means by saying that Before today, this was not what we were known as, but now we are known as Methodist Church Ghana because we are autonomous. So you may send in your comments, you may send in your questions now because the show has begun. And keep sharing the link, invite your friends, invite your families to also be a blessing. Now that we have understood what autonomy means, what is the significance of the flag raising to this special day?
Thank you very much. Flag raising is more or less like a memorial, a remembrance of what has happened previously, just to remind ourselves. And so on this day at the Asbury Downwell Chapel, and indeed over all the connection, we ask that we tell a little about ourselves, the story about our journey from 1835 to 1961 and what happened, and from 1961 to date. And we remember those who came in and established the church, those indigenous people who stood in and made sure that the church will grow. And all these are just reminders for generations presently to also know our history. Because history is part of us. And once you forget your history, then you don't even know where you are heading to. So to raise the flag is to show that, yes, we commemorate those who did their work previously for us to now.
Okay. Yehu the Franka Norokosroa. Papa has given us the meaning of why we had to hoist the flag to make sure that this takes place. Now, the theme for today's celebration, we want to find out why did we choose that theme? Because we're talking about Episcopacy, the past, the present, and the future. Can you please tell us why the choice of that particular theme and any overview on it?
Right. For every celebration should have a focus.
Okay.
And should have a purpose at least to give you an idea as to where you are coming from and where you want to get to. So this year, we decided to reflect on a very important theme, which is the Methodist Church Ghana Episcopacy at 20 years, the past, the present, and the future. This, I will say that, were two main events that had happened within our history as a church. And we wanted to bring the two together and celebrate it and remind ourselves of where we have come from and what we want to do. In the year 2000, we decided to change our mode of governance from the old British way and then to move and have what we call the biblical parting of episcopacy. And that is what we have practiced for the past 20 years. And we decided to have a reflection on it, look at it, and see the way forward. That's why we have as part of it the past, the present, and then the future. So we'll be reviewing all these.
Okay. So Papa has just entered into my next line of questions. Viewers, I hope you are enjoying this program and you are getting your questions ready, sharing with all your platforms. We know that, like you said, the past 20 years has been an episcopal system of leadership by the Methodists. We will not say that we were emulating our brothers and sisters in the Catholic or the Anglican sector, but we can also say that perhaps, or in one way or the other, we have some advantages. Can you brief us about how this has really helped the church in this regard, leaving the British rule, the system of and all that, and now coming to the papacy of what we see on your head?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. And even the reminder to our cherished viewers on my vestment for
Okay.
now. That's
Yeah.
why I decided to come in this.
Yes.
I would have come in a suit, but once we were talking about episcopacy, I decided to come with this vestment. Episcopacy brought with us a number of changes in terms of our way of doing things in governance. we now had to change the nomenclature from chairman to bishop. Then we changed from district to diocese, which in church history is the norm instead of district. Then the bishop, which is also biblical, and that is why we found that no, let us go biblical. That's why for us we're saying that a biblical parting of episcopacy, church leadership, right? And then you look at the vestments. Previously, we were not seen as I have dressed up today. We would have gone in our suit. We had our cassock all right with our preaching bands and all. But we didn't have the skull cap. We didn't have the cincture as we have now. And this has been part of church history and vestments. And we felt that this was the way to identify the church in terms of our traditions, in terms of the church's historical movement. And that's why we felt that going this way brings us in line with the church's rule from beginning till now.
So Papa has explained to us. Now we wanted to ask briefly the prospects and the structures. As it's where you've explained that we have our connection, we have our district replacing the diocese,
Sure.
we have our circuit, that is the very reverend minister, the superintendent heading that one, and then all that. We wanted to find out, is it likely to have a change in its further prospect? And Adama, we do not know, we do all.
I would say that it is evolving and it is subject to review in terms of, let's say, the number of people that are churning out that is to do with their tenure. You know that for our system of episcopacy, it is with their tenure as against the monarchical one, which you stay for up till the time you retire. For us, if you are elected as a bishop, you are there for 6 years, and then you go back to become a superintendent minister, but you keep your title as Right Reverend. If you are elected as a presiding bishop or administrative bishop, you are there for 6 years, and then you go and another person is also elected, right? And then we also had lay support. We previously had it, but we didn't have them at the diocesan level or at the district level. But with the coming in of episcopacy, we then decided that let us have the lay support for the bishop. And so we had the lay chairman. And for the lay chairman as well as the lay president, they stay in office for 3 years. And then a new person is also elected. But for the bishops and presiding admin, it is 6 years. And that is what we are having now. We also had a very reverend, which we didn't have previously. In the old system, the very reverend was for the presiding bishop who was out of office. Yes, that was the president who had finished his term. Had that title, very reverend. But in the new dispensation of episcopacy, we said that the superintendent ministers could now be called the very reverend. And then the attire also changed from the shirts, they had the green shirts to identify them as superintendents. And in the Methodist system, you see, the highest position that you can have is a superintendent. And so it was a very important position because you were seen as having oversight over a number of societies where you can go around and then give pastoral oversight, where you can give spiritual and all other supervision. And then you report to your bishop. Yeah, so the superintendents are also very important. They are the very reverend. And then if you are not a very reverend, then you are a reverend. And yes, that's it. So that's how the nomenclature had to change from the old system to the current one, which we have the Episcopacy.
Giving a quick look at the various reviews that have come up um, since our commencement, we noticed a few people, say a few dioceses, have viewed this form of episcopal system of leadership as something that is quite a new phenomenon to the Methodists. They see it as a deviation from our theology, our ecclesiology, as well as our practices. So, what do you say to this?
I would say that it is never a deviation, but it is rather a confirmation of our theology, of our ecclesiology, and our practice. Because if you look at our constitution, looking at the systems that we have used when it comes to our doctrinal beliefs, going episcopal did not change it, but it was even rather confirmed because you could then have biblical support for the very things that you were doing and even the names that the titles that came up with it. If you look at ministry, it has not changed in the sense that now we now have deacons, which we didn't have previously. And so that one rather confirms it and affirms. You see, it's a concise way of governance, which I believe that if we are to follow history or church history, you come to understand that this is the way we should have gone earlier. But let me also chip in this that the Methodists have not deviated in any way. In any way, in the sense that if you look at John Wesley himself, sending out people into the diaspora, especially to America, they went in and they went Episcopal. And so when you go to the Methodists in America, they are Episcopal. They have bishops and they have all that it takes as we are practicing here. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you for that enlightenment. Viewers, I hope you are enjoying so far and you are getting a lot of nuggets. Church history has been explained here. Papa himself is addressing a lot of your questions that you brought in earlier. Now, in your candid opinion, we want to find out, has with this era of pandemic and all the fears around, the lifting of the restrictions for the number of people for worship and to review from time to time, that's from 1 hour to the 2 hours, we want to find out from you, candidly speaking, is it a good move or initiative on the part of government, considering the Skyping figures and the infections that were still ongoing?
Let me say that for what the government comes out with in terms of church, the religious bodies have always been involved. They have been contacted, and we make an input. We make an input to it, and then we, as a church, are also concerned about the welfare of our people. We were really in support of the lockdown, the closure of the churches, and the observance of all the protocols, wearing of the mask and the hygiene protocols that were put in. So when it became obvious that the pandemic or COVID has come to stay with us, we could not just remain just like that. We needed to move on. What do we do? So, with the first easing of the restrictions, the 100 was okay for that time. Now, looking at how things are moving and how God has dealt with us, with the numbers of those who have recovered and all that, we felt that, it's also a good idea for 2 hours. And then now, observing social distancing, you can determine the number of people that can come to worship on a particular day or Sunday.
Okay.
So it was good.
All right. So Pastor thinks it's a good idea, and I pray that you also see this as a good initiative. One, you can stick to all the protocols involved. We
Sure.
noticed, this is just a side, as part of the restrictions even, um, President was speaking about having fresh air in the room. And it's not every chapel that admits fresh air, air conditioners and all that.
Yeah.
If you ever go to your home, them from mana, it's just been recycled, or we have to step out and have an open air service. For
Yeah.
some Methodist societies that may be watching now
Yes.
and are encountered by this problem because they have large numbers and their rooms are acoustic with air conditioning.
Yeah, we say that if it is possible, air conditioners must be put off. Yeah, so that you allow fresh air to come in. At least for now, let us switch off all air conditioners, open the windows, open doors, and let fresh air come in because of COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So, ministers watching, Turkey stewards, I pray that you take this into account so we can protect our members. If you haven't shared the link yet, please go ahead and share. Your questions are also welcome. Now, as a Christian leader, we want to find out what can we derive from the many challenges that this pandemic has brought to us and to your membership, for instance. Are there any lessons that we can learn as Methodist Church Ghana coming back home to us, yes, our church as a denomination?
COVID or the coronavirus has brought quite a number of challenges to all of humanity. It's global, and we cannot say that it's only to the church. It's everywhere. And for the church, we can say that in some particular ways, our relationships, our gatherings, our way of worship were all affected. And that is what sometimes I call a state of deprivation and also a state of disorientation. These are two words which, if we can sit down to analyze it, you find that deprivation in the sense that now even look at the way within COVID we take our communion. You see, in the lockdown, things that were not normal with the church, we had to go through it. And in some instances, the communion could not even be celebrated at all. People could not come and meet their class leaders or meet their class members to worship. It was a way of being deprived of what they were used to. And that is what I call the state of deprivation. They lost the company of fellow Christians worshiping together, singing together, celebrating the goodness of God together. Then you had a state of disorientation. You could find that things that had come in as a result of COVID were so abnormal. You were disorientated and looking at yourself now. Where do I find myself on Sunday? Sunday, you have to be indoors. Meanwhile, you were used to going out on Sunday for worship, but you had to be locked in. It also exposed our vulnerability and our fragileness, even as humans. In some instances, you could see the need of society as the need for society, because people now felt a sense of loss. Now they didn't have things, and people were deprived of even the daily bread. All these things came into the church, which to me, it was also a big border. And maybe finally I would want to talk about the finances. That one was also a crucial matter that came, that has come into the church as a result of this enemy called COVID-19.
So, with the need for society, I don't know whether you'd want to elaborate on any other lessons that we are supposed to take home as Methodists. Except we will have for maybe 100 home there. The last 4 months has been a blessing. So, if you can maybe draw our minds to, apart from the need of society, maybe we could add up to ourselves as knowledge that is going to affect us even for the future time. if you could add one or two lessons from this period, we'll be very grateful.
Yeah. What we can learn in this pandemic, which I'll say is a positive thing, is that as a church, it brought us into focus of stretching a hand to helping people who were in dire need. We had to, and that is when you see that we were going out and sharing food, creating food banks, and then all that. That was also one of them. And for some of us, some people too, they saw it as a positive way of getting closer to God. Yeah, getting closer to God. They didn't want their love for God to wane or to grow cold. So morning, afternoon, evening, they were in communion with God, reading their Bible, singing their hymns, and making sure that what is it that is coming? Because we were all living in a state of fear. What was coming next, we didn't know. So the best thing to do was to draw closer to God. And that one alone, I see it as positive.
And back to our question, the question is asking us, how can we remain relevant? So the big question, how can the Methodist Church Ghana stay relevant in the midst of this pandemic in relation to our core business as a church? Today, I can't yen and I need a preaching nara and preacher and a preacher, local preachers, homeless from lay preachers. What should be our strategy as MCJ?
For the Methodist people, we're saying that God raised us for a purpose. And that purpose is to spread scriptural holiness on the land and to reform the land. And so to remain relevant is a holistic thing that we have to be doing. It's not just the preaching aspect of it, but how do we address the needs of the people or the society in which we find ourselves. And we can do this. One, we have now gone on social media addressing the needs through the virtual means, through the television that we have, where we reach them, reaching the young, the old, and all manner of people. We come to them with a sense of hope from the church. That is one aspect. Then we also created physical food banks for people where we saw need. Leaders could call ministers and say that, oh, these are people who needed help, and so we could go there and give them the support. All these things are things that we ought to be doing. But I think that for now, we need to strengthen our way of getting to the people through the virtual means and making sure that their love for God continues to grow again and again. Yes, that's how we'll become relevant and then addressing the needs of people.
So I think in line with that, you've already explained this. I think earlier this morning I overheard you through the interview with the Joy News. Papa was explaining and expounding the fact that PPEs have been provided by the Methodist Church Ghana. So the next question, the church as an agent of social change. How best is the church providing leadership in the fight against COVID-19? Yes, this is what is happening with MCD. We are doing our best.
That's right.
Papa can, yes.
Thank you very much. Sometimes, you see, as Methodists, we believe that what the Bible says is very true. Okay. When you are the left hand is doing, you don't let them in the right see. But sometimes you need to let people know. In the fight against COVID-19, we saw that the government alone could not do it.
Okay.
So as a partner with government, what can we do? So we had to come out with an idea of supplying PPEs to the tune of over 100,000 Ghana cedis,
Wow.
where we gave to Noguchi, we gave to our hospitals scattered all over the country. We also gave to the government. We also made sure that all our places are disinfected, and then making sure that they can come into an environment where it is COVID-free, at least for the things that we did. So these are some of the things. Then we provided Veronica buckets, hand sanitizers, and then tissues for other institutions, just to help in the fight against COVID. Yeah, that's what the Methodist Church did, and we continue to do. Yes.
Thank you so much. So if you belong to this great movement, the Methodist Church, you should be proud of your church. Share the link. Let people know the good work that Christ has charged us to do, that we are doing so wholeheartedly. I remember when the Bishop of Accra was here, he also expounded on the fact that we had done signages and other postcards to share around to all our various societies across board,
Right.
to be able to educate people on hand washing and other things.
Sure.
So
Sure.
basically, we cut across every sector, every sphere as
Exactly.
Methodists.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. So
And
someone has a
we
question.
do education. We do education, continuous
Continuous.
education on social media. We have asked the ministers at least to use some time in preaching to educate the members as to how to go about the protocols. Then on television, Wesleyan television, we take time to explain some of these protocols. That's our contribution still.
We thank God so much that we are also providing our quota. Viewers, if you are watching so far, I hope your appetite has been whetted and you are going to go all the way to the end with us. Somebody has a question here. Nabotele Amate on Facebook. But she wants to know, we're talking about the Episcopacy and others. She says that, please, how long does it take a reverend to become a very reverend?
Oh, that's a very good question. That's a very good question.
That's why I'm waiting more to proceed for more.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When you see, we have what we call the ministerial formation. So 3 years you go to Trinity, then you come out, and then for 3 years you are a probationer, and within that probation, you go through some formation still. You'll be writing exams, reading books where you are questioned and queried, and then you have to pass all these year by year. If you fail, you are repeated. Yes, you repeat your year. That is the Methodist training.
More repeat after my collar.
I tell you, yes, even with your collar, you repeat your year if you fail the exams. All right. So when you are 3 years in as probation, then you are ordained.
Okay.
All right. Then you continue for about 4 years. Then you get to the 7th year. Right. That is when you have to go through SOSED. Okay. All right. And then SOSED will also take you. So by the time you get to the 7th year, then you can become a very reverend. That is it. So it's not just anybody coming up and becoming a very reverend. Yes. Right. And leaving that one, you have to go through what we call continuous education, called SOSED. Every year, then you take some courses, you are assessed, and the 7th, 8th year, then the bishop will also give an assessment of your work. Then it is brought to conference where they can say that you are a very reverend.
You are very reverend, but without
superintendent. Exactly. Okay. That is where we call it superintendency by status. By status, yeah. Previously, we knew superintendents to be those in charge of circuit, and their name appeared first on the circuit list. But now, because it's superintendency by status, some people are without circuits. We also make sure that those who are heading our institutions, those who are seconded to schools and who have attained the rank of senior lecturers are also very reverend. All right. So there are
they are in our training institutions.
exactly
Okay.
in training institutions, in tertiary institutions, wherever they find themselves. If they have attained a certain rank, they also become very reverent. Yeah.
I hope the education is going well with you, viewers. I have a number of questions, so we'll quickly take some of them. Presiding say, this is from Nana Yaobenya. Nana Yaobenya says, will you not agree with me that the Episcopacy system of our church has been misunderstood? It appears to me that much has not been achieved in terms of church growth, that is souls, since the adoption of Episcopacy. Attention has been shifted from souls to titles, power, and church politics. How do we resolve these challenges? Would you recommend that we use the previous model?
I will not recommend that we use the previous model in the sense that when we talk of bishops, as we have them now, are designated to a diocese, and they have to be giving the pastoral oversight of all the people in the diocese. They have their plans, they following the strategic plan of the church, lead the people in the diocese to make sure that we can expand the kingdom of God. Yes, that's why I'm saying that it hasn't changed very much, though. So if we have not done well, then it means that we have not been doing well previously. Yes, but for what we are practicing now, we think that yes, the bishop in charge, if he is very efficient, very effective, to make sure identify the weak places and make sure that they can also make it in terms of evangelism, in terms of pastoral care.
So, Nana, I hope your question has been addressed. There are some compliments online. We have some saying to you that good evening, Papa. This is the graph. Albert Tapia says that he's also watching you live from Toronto.
Oh, Osofo, Aiko, Osofo. My regards to Osofo Mami.
Papa agrees to you on that. Okay, so someone also says, this is from Derek Oforiachia, son of Bishop. He says that no limits. We are only to keep a meter social distance among congregants. Okay, I think he's looking at the increase of numbers.
Yeah.
From 100 to
the
no limit.
That's right.
Yeah, 3,000. I heard 3,000 in a bit more about Chapra.
No.
Papa says no. Please let's listen well.
No.
Christian Council is speaking.
No. When we say no limits, it's not no limits in the sense that you crowd the room with people. Limits with the social distancing.
If your room might have to take 1,005 instead of the 3,000, space it out.
Exactly. Just give the 1 meter in between people.
Okay.
And the number that can occupy your room is what becomes your limit.
Okay.
So you just don't come and get seated as you did previously before the lockdown. Okay. If I use the example of Calvary, the pew can take about 10 people. Yeah. Now you don't come in and say that without limit, so 10 people can, no. But now it should be about 4 or 5 people on the pew so that there should be spaces in between them. Yeah.
Okay. So please, if you are a circuit steward, society steward, chapel steward, please work with your ministers and let's go by these protocols. We love you all as Methodists, so let's do our part.
Yeah. Let me add that from tomorrow, a circular will come from the conference office to all the churches, and then we'll also explain on Wesleyan television as to how this new directive would work from August.
Okay. So let's be expectant from our bishop and our conference office as well. Okay. We have a few questions online, but we'll come back online. This is Albert Apia. I think he has a comment here. He says that God bless you, Presiding Bishop, for throwing more light on both the autonomy and the episcopacy of the Methodist Church, Ghana. Long live Methodist Church. Okay. So for Samuel Wusefriye says, I'm watching you live from Ashanti Bekwai. Thank you, Presiding. Dan Agati says, watching you live. Thank you, Papa. Okay, so our next question is asking, um, it is high time, in your opinion, to boost our game as Methodist ministers, pastors, leaders, and etc. to become technology savvy, because we know that people's tastes are going to change or keep changing with evolving with this COVID-19. What plans do you have as a church, or have you put in place as Methodists to ensure training programs, seminars, etc., to your leaders to be able to lead the people well?
There is no time like now
Hmm.
for ministers, church members, and everyone to be technologically minded
Hmm.
than we have,
Okay.
because the issues confronting us as a result of COVID is making it very, very, very relevant to be uh, knowledgeable in the use of technology.
Okay.
Now, I would say that the church, as part of SOSED, where we're giving training to our ministers, added some part of computer literacy.
Okay.
Yes, so we were doing it, and now we have to boost it. We have to raise it to another level.
Okay.
Now I am meeting bishops on Zoom. They don't have to travel all the way from Sehubekwai or the way from Tamale to come to Accra for a meeting of, say, 2 hours, and then it's over. He has to travel back. Now we are going Zoom. Okay. All right. So this digital, this is the way. Now, when the churches were closed down or locked, the chapels were closed, not churches closed down, but chapels were closed, and we had to reach people with on virtual and social media. Societies will also have to just get in line with all these things. So it is not just the ministers or the stewards, but everyone and every society must be technologically inclined so that we can reach people. And I'll say that it is relevant we do this because in the course of the lockdown, I was preaching to our church in the diaspora. Yes. Looking at the numbers that we have there in our books, it's not over 5,000, but at the end of the day, I had spoken to about 10,000 people. Twice as much. Yes, twice as much. Right. So you could see that we were reaching more people than as the main exactly. Service. So if we can go that way, we would be doing more evangelism than what we are doing now. So I would go for it, and then I know that very soon there will be a directive as to every minister having a computer, a modem, and everything. Wow. So that wherever you are, you can access your mail, you can text your people, and everything. That is what we should be doing.
Viewers, I hope you are enjoying this. Papa says that Methodist Church is going solely digital.
Thank you.
You're for high level. We should all start making arrangements. Your donation, yeah, come and help donate. Let the word go. Make sure you contribute so that when the modem is ready for the bishop or the minister, they will have meetings and we don't need to travel long distance. So let's get involved. Papa, please, you have a special invitation here. This is from Intori Kento Trinity. He says, "Good evening, Papa. Please try and visit Emmanuel Methodist in United Arab Emirates in Dubai. Please, we beg you." In saying a special request, Mr. Lockdown here over pay. That's right.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for the invitation. Yeah. We'll definitely come and visit. But they have sent the invitation
already.
Yeah. So I have heard. We will definitely come. When the borders are open, we will come.
Okay. Eric Soma says he's watching you from Toronto. God bless you, Presiding.
Oh, Eric. Yeah.
Your people are online. So we thank you, viewers. Please keep bringing your questions so that they can be tackled. Derek Okoriacha is asking, 10 years and after. Okay, and after some study, I think he was also responding to the earlier question of when does a reverend become a very reverend.
Oh,
He says 10 years, and after some studies, 10 years. Okay.
well, that's how it should be.
It should be.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are Methodists.
Yeah.
Exactly. And please don't force us to change it. We are Methodists.
Okay. The theologians are speaking. Oh, this is our system. Okay, so do you think or estimate that our worship life as Christians or as Methodists will remain the same again since the surfacing of the pandemic? And also, aside the 1 hour, 2 hours, do you think that some are better sign our worship life?
Yeah, I believe that things will not be the same. Things will change. Our liturgies are going to change. Our practice is also going to change. But our doctrines, our theology will not change. Because those ones, they are just absolute. They are absolute. The Bible will not change in comment. And so we are not also going to change what we believe that Christ is Lord. That's why we will not change. But the practice, the way we do things, you see. The last time I was here at Calvary, I was saying that I don't like the way we sing the hymn 1, 2, and then we are gone. I wanted us to sing all through.
If it were
12 verses, if it were 12 verses, let us sing all because it was speaking to us. But with what we have now, with just 1 hour, singing one hymn for 1 hour is not enough. It will not be okay. Yeah. So things are going to change. Now, the way we go about things, the way we have time to interact and dance and all that, all those things are going to change. And so we should be ready.
It won't change our worship on session. Yeah, but I am process who the priestly order who they on session before the holy throne above on session. Yeah, everybody should come to that understanding. So enlighten us.
Yes, it doesn't spoil anything, but just that let us come with a mindset that we are in the presence of God. Yeah. See, all those things were just bringing us to order and making sure that, look, service has started. So let us come and worship God in that reverent way. And you see, but now we think that all those things we can modify them. Modify.
Now we are coming to you personally. As a Christian leader, how has COVID-19 impacted your leadership style?
Wow.
Elsewhere, as well as for MCG, that is Christian Council, serving on African Methodist unions and other things globally.
Yeah.
What angle?
Yeah. Just as I said earlier, COVID has impacted all of us globally, impacting the young child, the older people, leaders in secular circles, and then the church everywhere. It has affected us. If I look at it from the Christian Council, see, as Christian Council chairman, some decisions are coming up for which you need to also come to explain again to the generality of the people. How do we address it? How do we even go about it? Previously, it was not like that. We were just looking at things around us. But now, it has even transcended the Christian Council to other domains. And that's one aspect of it. In terms of visitation, you also have no time to do the visitation or to other places. And it's also affecting even my pastoral visit to the diocese. This year was going to be my pastoral visits to all the dioceses. I started with 3, and then COVID came, and I had to stop everything. And that alone, see, it was a way of bringing conference office to the grassroots, to the people. Yeah, and I enjoyed traveling on to Afram Place traveling,
I was
yes,
watching you
on their
online.
farm place, and then interacting with the market women and all that, and showing, yeah, that was
The
another way
real
of evangelism.
Methodist.
But now we could not have it. And then meeting Sunday school children and yeah, all those things have affected us. And again, because of COVID now, even relating to the bishops has to be virtual. Has to be virtual. And then sometimes too, they are also not in line and all those things. So leadership has been affected. On the African continent, we were to have some other series of conferences. I should have been in Nigeria by now. This week, I should have been in Nigeria for their conference, but because of COVID, it's been cancelled. We cannot attend, and so this is how. Yes.
But it doesn't mean that the various work as in the bonds we still have with the ANC and other things are still
yes,
we are still on good terms. Work
sure, we're still doing
online,
it virtual.
digital,
yeah,
virtual.
we're going virtual.
That's great.
Yes, we're doing virtual.
That's great. Someone has a contribution online. I want to quickly read it. Well, Benjamin Richardson, after Richardson, the job or keyboard will have. Us say, organist. Greetings to you all. Please help the music ministry develop more and more, Papa. So the other to when you there, if you can see to that angle for them, you know he's been playing it here, so there he's playing as well. So he wants you to make sure that not there's a choral 1 hour or 1 hour or two. You should see to it.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I pray I've not skipped anybody's question. And say Dinah, God the evangelist says, Presiding said, what Nana is saying is 100% true, and we're not allowed to say or express our views since the focus is by reaching the top as a big man and not on real soul winning, but soul winning by mouth with less fun. What can church do now? I think she's retorting or reacting to Nana Benya's question whether our focus had shifted to titles and others, investment and others because of Episcopacy. Okay.
But we keep winning souls.
We keep winning
souls.
We keep
winning souls. And there hasn't been any conference here or church here where we have said that our numbers are dropping. We still win, but maybe it's not in the numbers which we would have expected.
Yeah. And as Bia Samuel Becken says, the reverb is the sound it's making. Hey, sorry, I think he was speaking about technical pitches and he wasn't getting that well. Prophetic Bride says, God bless you, Papa. Atirubi son says, I'm watching you live. Alberto Sabuti says, good evening to the bishop and to the host. Yes, we received them all. I believe that most of the questions have been answered. Emmanuel, Right Reverend Emmanuel Sarikusi says, watching now from Kofodia. Okay. I still have to refresh my page. I've put it on all comments, but some people's comments haven't yet appeared, but I'll still be refreshing. Okay. Papa, we wanted to find out. This year now, and we see that we've not had regular service, we've not had number of people at church. Are we still in the same arrangement with our finances as in 40% rule? You can give some dispensation. That COVID era, the matter on us. Today, Papa is here, and my super he would have allowed me to. Yes, yes, to share with you. What do you say to this?
Yeah.
Are you ready to bend a little for the cause of our branches?
Yeah, but for some of these things, let me say that I'm using this opportunity to appreciate all our congregations, all our societies, our circuits, for the wonderful way by which they supported and they continue to support the church. You know that these percentages are coming as a result of what the church wants to do when it comes to our remunerations for our ministers. So to come in now to maybe amend it or to change it, it will derail us.
Okay.
It will derail the church. And then we'll suffer for it. And so for now, we'll have to go with the same arrangement.
Okay.
We have to go with the same, yes.
Pastors, we have to go with the same arrangement. We are societies. We are buying sanitizers every day.
I know.
We are paying water bill extra than what we did.
Yeah.
That's
right. That's right.
So go and pray about it.
Sure,
You see.
sure.
Let the Spirit speak to you like always.
Okay.
And then give us a
then
I
I will also pray that you get more money to buy the sanitizers here. So that you can,
bring yours.
Not to change my mind on the percentages, but to get more money to buy them.
We should buy our
exactly the
locally.
PPEs.
Okay.
So when you get more money, you can buy the
can
PPEs. That one is the same.
Right. So George Duncan says that he's watching from Virginia, USA. Papa, God bless you for the good job. I'm praying for God's wisdom and understanding for you.
George, you are welcome. You know, George was at Adu-Gyamfi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was.
Okay,
he was a steward at Adu-Gyamfi.
Okay. Deborah Duncan says, I'm enjoying the program. Boafo says, Papa, this morning, Bishop Asante recommended that a book should be available on the genesis of Episcopacy and what it stands for. Yeah. I believe it's a wonderful idea. In your view, when will this be available, please? You know.
Yes. Yeah, it's true, and I collaborated what Papa Asante said that we will commission the research and planning team, and then historians to come out with a book. I cannot promise to say that it will come out this year, but we will set up a committee to look at it.
Yes. We really want to have a lot of materials. While I was researching, I was directed to find something on Cassie Hickford, who had written something on Episcopacy or autonomy to help me. But who books me I couldn't do much.
Right.
So another question from Seth Kwabna Odroasa. What's the presiding bishop there? Please, how are we funding the new office complex? So this was answered last week, but how are we funding the new office complex with the COVID-19 pandemic, reducing the financing power of the church?
Yeah. One of my officers is saying that we are men and women of faith. Men and women of faith, we set a target, and in faith, we believe that with God in the vessel, we'll smile at the storm. And just as Calvary, you say, trusting Jesus.
That is so.
That's all. Yeah. So we are also trusting Jesus that why should he even give us the chance to start the project in the midst of COVID? Okay. Why didn't he ask us to wait or stop? But said, no, even in the midst of COVID, go ahead. That is where we can talk of miracles. That is where we can talk of the wonder of God. That is where we can give a witness and say that, the Methodists have a witness that in the midst of scarcity, God provided. On Sunyamiye. That is how we are going about this.
So Papa says that on Sunyamiye, before we take your final words, I don't want to miss anybody's question, but I pray that I have at least had patience. Okay. Papa Evans says that I love your voice, Bishop. Oh, you're so blessed. What might that be? Bishop Foreign voice, Nane, are you okay? Papa. Before we take your final words, today is the Autonomy Day of the Methodist Church, and we want to hear your final words to the people called Methodist in your counseling, your advice you would like to give to your people before you bless us and impact on to us also.
Okay. Right. I want to say a very big thank you once again for this opportunity to come on this program, The Issues.
Yes.
I want to commend you for what you are doing as a circuit or as a society. in bringing out some of the things that people are not aware of. And now it's good education for our people. So continue with it. Keep it up. And we pray that it will go a very long way in educating our people. To the people called Methodists, I would say that the purpose for which God raised us and brought us to this country has not changed. It's the same. In hard times, in difficult times, in times where we can say that it's rosy, God's purpose for us to spread scriptural holiness and to reform the land has not changed. Our love for God has not changed. For the people called Methodists, once again, we are there to bring about the welfare of the people. Let us go out there into the society and be agents of change. That is what our revered Father John Wesley did. He brought change to England and it spread to all the world. And that one doesn't change. That is what we should be doing. Let us stand for truth. Let us stand for integrity. Let us stand for holiness. Let us stand as a church that you can depend on, and in depending on, you can experience God. You can experience God. And in experiencing God, I know that our lives will never be the same. In this time of the pandemic, let us not also run away from all the protocols. Let us observe them. It is the only way by which we can help fight it or prevent the spread of COVID. In this period, let us not have our love for God grow cold, because it's becoming as if, now I'm even lazy to get up to pray, lazy to get up to read my Bible, lazy to get up to do things or to even listen to whatever is coming from my minister on social media. This is the time that your love for God should be growing with the times and with the years. And I know that the Lord still loves us, and let us also love him too, as the people called Methodist. To all Ghanaians, my word to you is that we will all be ambassadors of peace in this period of election. Let us preach peace. Let us walk peace. Let us talk peace. Let us show love to each and every one of our people. It is my words to you. And to our young people who are also there, the church loves you. The church loves you. I know that you have all it takes to make the church relevant in terms of technology. Please don't hide away from it. Don't send it away, but approach your minister, approach your stewards, approach your people, and make sure that you can also bring this to bear to help the Methodist Church grow spiritually, financially, emotionally, economically, every aspect of our life. Let the Methodist Church grow through you. And you would have served your age now. Thank you.
Amen. Viewers, I hope you have been inspired and blessed. I know that you have the streams available. Continue to share to all your handles. Let your WhatsApp blast have all this so that anytime somebody clicks, they can be blessed. Let your Facebook status have it streaming all night long. I'm going to do the same before I sleep tonight. So I pray that you will also do the same. So, Papa, we've really enjoyed the discussion with you. We are grateful for the time here. We're very grateful. And the thing is, we actually look forward to your next visit. That is going to be sooner than later. If we're looking at August, I mean, we'll communicate to us, and then we'll have Papa coming back. So one coffee one, writing pad. 110 the BBR. When he comes, you know him, he will deliver. Obey. He has sorted that crap. You want to please share a word of prayer with us? Let's bless our nation.
Maba Fanta, sorry. Cobra, Yanka Fantica Crow. Yanum pro, Yanum Penufo, once or day, Yampa Boemu, Yabobima, once or what's it. Yamia is a hen while man Yanado. Nedan dan yen debra wopeti. Yen won kwa yen fatafi. Ye bre ho na ase. Wen na akumem, wen da sim. De ahwe ne do akra he na aboye ho bana besinde. Nne de maya ba abusuen. Enyim de nam do be ma wedi eduma wo hene mu. Ma hene do aye wo ma on ewraze wa ye kase da. Ma ya nta ase. Masunsum kronkron ahoɔdze no nkyerɛkyerɛ na ase ma ya ata ase nso ewuraze ma yengyina do na yɛnsom no yɛnsom yie yɛda wɔ ase ma Methodist asɔre Ghana yɛda wɔ ase ma numu nyimpa nyinara na asɔfo mpanyimfo bishops na wɔn a wɔka ho nyinara asɛmpakafo na wɔn a wɔka ho nyinara ne mmerante na mmabaawa a wɔwɔ mu nyinara mmɔfra aba Sunday school scholars nyinara yɛdze wɔn ba w'enyim nyame yɛne mpaebɔ nye dɛ bere a yɛte brɔd ɔwɔ mu pandemic yi mu ma wo sunsum kronkron mmɔ yɛn ho ban ɔmpae na esan na musu nyinara na ewuradze wo nhyira ma ɔnyɛ hɛn ne dze. And so we continue to praise and love, O God, your mercies and your providence upon our lives. And ask that, O Lord, in the coming weeks, as we tread into a new month, may you hold our hands. May you walk with us. May you journey with us. May your face go with us. May you bless everything that we do. In this moment, some are bereaved. In this moment, some have lost their jobs. In this moment, some have come to the end of the road and they have nothing doing. At the hearing of this voice, O Lord, we pray that you will open new doors for such people, that they will come to understand that yes, indeed, as they waited on you, Lord, you have answered their prayers. Continue to bless this church and the ministers and what they are doing now. Enrich and strengthen them in everything that they do. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon all of you. May his goodness and mercy follow you all the days of your life. Amen.
Thank you so much, Papa.
Thank you.
Viewers, thank you for tuning in. My name is Princess Mama Adu-Gyamfi, and I've been your host for tonight. See you next week.
Thank you.